News Talk 1330 FM 106.3.
Well, good Thursday morning, everybody. Welcome to the WLBB Community Voice program here on News Talk 1330, FM 106.3. It's now 8:30. Again, Thursday morning. I'm your host, Colin Worthington. My guest is the mayor of Carrollton, and he wants to continue doing that job for at least the next 4 years. That's why he qualified last month to be in the election, which is coming up November the 5th. Early voting starts 3 weeks before that. October 14th. His name is Walt Hollingsworth, and kind enough to join us on the program this morning. Also, if you're sitting at home near your computer, you can check us out on the News Talk 1330 Facebook page. You can see Walt sitting across from me. And feel free to post comments and questions on that page as well, and we'll take a peek at them during our first commercial break. So again, welcome. Appreciate you coming out this morning.
Thanks for having me, Colin.
Got the good-looking jacket on.
Thanks, sir.
And
always good to see you.
Yeah, you as well. 4 years in this office.
3 years, 9 months.
It'll be 4 years at the end of this year. What can you reflect back on and say, hey, this is what I did good? Is there anything that you could have done different?
Oh, yeah, there's always things you could do different in hindsight, but hindsight's 20/20. So we've had a good run. Our recreation department's got reaccredited. We're one in, I think there's 10 accredited recreation departments in the state, and we're one of those. We're the smallest one in the state, but we've been that way for the last 4. We get reaccredited every 5 years, and we've done it 5 years in a row, and it says a lot for our recreation department and the work that they do there.
Is that something that was part of your campaign, or that you came into this job thinking we need to focus on that, or at least maintain it? Because it's always been
that way for
well
the
respected.
Four times. It was Peter and them do a great job over there, and it's just a lot of work and a lot of effort on their part to maintain what we have going on.
Mm-hmm. Well, and let me set you up with this question again. Is there anything that happened this 4 years that you maybe did? Way you can look back, hindsight's 20/20. Can you look back on it and say, I might have done this different, or I should have done this different, or maybe saw how it affected things? I mean, it's a learning experience as well.
It's a learning curve. The first year and a half is really a learning curve of just getting to know everybody and knowing what everybody does, all the departments, and what I was involved in everything. It's not what I was expecting when I first went in from private business going into government stuff. But, the city of Carrollton is just a big business. Payrolls, taxes, just like everybody else. I mean, you've got to have an advertising leg, which is our recreation department. Our cultural arts is for the cultural arts department does tremendous amounts of things down there. Just keep the public entertained and going forward, and there's always something going on down at the Center for the Arts. I can't say of anything I would have done different. I'm looking forward to another 4 years of trying to improve on what I did the previous 4 years.
Each city has a charter, and that sets out the definition of what the mayor does, and,
yes.
And each city might have different explanations for mayor. What do you think the role is for mayor in Carrollton?
You're the CEO, but that doesn't give you a whole lot of effort power-wise. You have a general jurisdiction over all departments. You can't hire, you can't fire. Can't give raises other than through the council. We don't have veto power with the city of Carrollton, so if anything the council approves, I can't veto it. I basically just get one more vote just like the rest of the council members there. So truly it's more like a councilman at large's position, to be honest with you.
And you really don't get that vote unless it's tied, right? And I guess that probably wouldn't even matter, really. I mean, you get the focus on you as being that decisive vote because you're mayor, right? I mean,
I guess you could say that. Yeah. I mean, it's not really a tie. You're not breaking a tie. Mm-hmm. You're voting right along with the rest of the council members that are there.
Okay. Walt Hollingsworth, our guest on this morning's Community Voice program, 834. Questions and comments, encourage you to post them up on the News Talk 1330 Facebook page, and we'll take a peek at them. One thing that is going on right now throughout the whole county, we had a tax digest increase over the past year. Municipalities are dealing with the potential of maintaining their millage rate, which would allow them to collect additional funds from from property owners as a whole, and the other option is to roll it back. And in theory, that you wouldn't collect additional dollars. I think Carrollton might be the last municipality to do this. The last hearing, the 23rd
at 12 o'clock.
12 o'clock. And so, if you're interested in that, you're encouraged to go out there and listen to council and city manager and mayor discuss that, and then voice your concerns if you have any. But Carrollton has chosen to leave the millage rate as it is.
We have chosen that way, yes. How the vote's actually going to fall down on Monday, I'm not 100% sure. It looks like we're going to be keeping it like it is. We really need the money. We have had to tap into our reserves this year, at least last few years. When the fire station was blown away by the tornado on Columbia Drive, we lost the recreation building in 2016, the maintenance department out at East Lake Carroll Park. We spent about $1.5 million out of reserves to replace those units. The insurance company didn't cover it all, so we had to add money to it. It's dropped our reserves a little bit down to the $9 million mark. It's just one of those business type things. Fire station was a very critical thing for the city of Carrollton. We got lucky with the college, and we swapped some land with them down the corner of Brumbelow and Loving Road, and we moved it down there and built a new facility, which we really needed really bad. Gave us a better presence down there for emergency response in the college area and on that side of town.
You mentioned the fire department, lead us into public safety and raises. That's been a topic of conversation the last 3 or 4 years, and countywide and locally for Carrollton.
We had to spend a lot of money with upgrading the fire department. It was, and we need to replace another fire department out on Central Road. This was built in 1978. And it needs. We're looking for some spots right now to rebuild one more. It's we need to really take care of our EMS guys. They protect us, and when we call 911, we expect them to call and show up. And the fire department is the first people on the scene. It's not the ambulance folks. It's the firemen. They're doing their job, and they do a real good job.
And that's for everything. You're not just talking about fires. They have to respond to
wrecks, everything. It's but they're the first ones there, and we want them to be prepared, and we want them to be ready to help the citizens.
Are there still discussions as far as better pay or adding pay for first responders altogether, police and fire?
Yes, we're still in that mode. It's and this little bit, everybody talks about the millage rate going up. Well, if you're $200,000 house, it's $21. I think the state or the county-wise used to appraise a house at $50 a square foot. It's where they set their millage dollars at. And this year they raised it up to $15 a square foot. Now, new construction now is running about $125 a square foot. So it's kind of depending on how you want to play it out. But it's, $65 a square foot for a house on the appraisal side is reasonable.
And to clarify, it's not the millage rate isn't going up; it's staying the same. But
our millage rate will stay the same, and we're still the lowest in the area by at least 2 million.
And it hasn't gone up in 15 years or whatever. I'll tell you the frustrations from people that I've heard, and I'm not taking a stand on it. I understand that you guys see the picture as far as, well, we have a chance to get some money to do these projects. We need to stick with that. The concern that I'm hearing from people is that people living in the city of Carrollton, they're also getting an increase from the city school system as well, and they just happen to be at the same time. So they both have these opportunities to where they're going to pay a little bit extra tax. And one argument that I probably piqued my that I paid very well attention to when the person was discussing it is like, my house went up. I've invested in my house and did nice things, and now it's worth more. But it's like I'm being punished because, at this time, now that I've made it worth more, I'm getting hit from these two entities, and I'm losing money. And that's just one argument. But I mean, again, the other side of it is that when there's an opportunity to collect additional money, which will pay for all the things that the city is involved in and their plans.
Well, that's true. It's and we need to build our reserves back up. The GMA and state says we need a 3 to 4 month reserve in place. At the $9 million that we have right now, we're just kind of skating a little over 3 months.
Well, what's the highest the reserves have been the last 4 years?
At one time, it was right around 11 million. But we've had to tap into it a lot this past 3 years just to cover some of the acts of God that we've gone along. It's just kind of like running a house, Colin, to a certain degree. I mean, you just never know when the water heater's going to blow up, or when the wash machine is going to go out, or you just kind of have to roll with it, and those little emergencies come up, and that's what these funds are for, is for emergencies, and that's what we got faced with. We just drew a bad deck of cards.
Walt Hollingsworth, our guest on this morning's Community Voice program. He's the mayor of the city of Carrollton. His first term concludes in December of this year, and he's hoping to start a new one in January of 2020. He and Betty Kaysen are the candidates for that race, again on ballots November the 5th, and early voting starts 3 weeks before that, and we'll be sure and remind you as that does approach. Questions and comments, I encourage you to post it to the News Talk 1330 Facebook page. That's where you can also see this program streaming live online at this moment. We'll take our first break, come back with more of our conversation with Walt Hollingsworth, Community Voice, brought to you by Tanner Health System and Oak Mountain Academy.
Oak Mountain Academy has offered a challenging college preparatory education for over 50 years. With over 500 graduates, we have maintained a 100% college acceptance rate. Over 90% of our students earn acceptance to their first choice of college or university, and over the past 5 years, our students have earned over $10 million in scholarship offers. Our students are creating a legacy. Come, be a part of our family and create your own legacy today. To learn more, visit us at oakmountain.us.
At Tanner, we're advancing health throughout West Georgia and East Alabama, because we know that exceptional care isn't based on how many patients we serve, but how well we serve them. That's why we're focused on quality, delivering the best possible care for our patients. It's why we're expanding our clinical services and building new facilities to serve our growing community. And it's why we're looking beyond our hospitals and medical practices to develop sustainable wellness and preventive health programs in our region. What makes a hospital great has changed. It's not how many beds we have. It's how well we care for the neighbors who need them. Delivering the right care to every patient, every time, is how Tanner is advancing health with medicine beyond measure. Learn more at tanner.org. or find a physician on our medical staff by calling 770-214-CARE.
.843, welcome back to the WLBB Community Voice program here on News Talk 1330, FM 106.3. Colin Worthington, your host this morning. My guest is Walt Hollingsworth. He is the mayor of the city of Carrollton, and he's seeking his second consecutive term for Election Day coming up on November the 5th of this coming year, 2019. First portion of the program discussed a number of topics. I encourage you to go back and listen to our podcast later on this morning if you missed any of it. And if you have questions for the forthcoming part of the program, I encourage you to post them online at newstalk1330.com, our Facebook page, because we are streaming live this morning. Carrollton is in the middle of a beautification project. That's what it's being called, on Bankhead Highway.
Yes, sir.
And the proposal, a lot of people are excited about it, and there, big ideas about how this will benefit the city. But at least a couple of business owners along that street weren't so happy about the diet. They're concerned that road diet is what they're calling it. They're concerned that will hurt traffic and discourage people from actually driving on that road. It might hurt their business a little bit. How did you fall in that?
I voted against that project. It's twofold on that one to me. Being in the concrete business all these years and working with the DOT as much as I have, and friends with the DOT, they asked them what they thought, and they said, "Walt, you never give up a lane because you never get it back." Which is true. I mean, look at 27 South. I mean, it's we're trying to figure out how to get more lanes down through there to get the traffic to flow, and DOT's been back down there extending turning lanes for red lights and trying to get the jam out from down there. Another aspect of it, the construction project on that project's about a year-long project from start to finish. People will find other ways to go around, and once they become creatures of habits, some people are afraid they won't come back down that way. Another thing that really bothered me about the project was that, it's about a $4 million project, and 1.5 of that's coming from the state on a beautification program that they have going on. But the other $3 million, $2.5 million, is going to have to come from reserves. We don't have it as necessarily in the city's budget to just drop $2.5 million on Bankhead right this minute. Our reserves have been depleted down, and that's part of the tax digest, trying to get our reserves back up. If we take another $2.5 million from our reserve budget, it's going to push us down to 6.5, which is an uncomfortable level.
Is that the plan, though, to take it out of the reserves?
It's got to come out of reserves. I mean, we don't have it in the budget as of speak going forward. That's the one key that nobody's really talking about. We have our paving budget that's already been placed up, and Lord, we got streets all over town that need resurfacing, redoing. I've been concentrating on trying to get a lot of these potholes fixed. I feel like I'm the pothole patrol man these days. People call me about, can you check on this hole over here? And I was amazed to find out that it's $35 a square foot to fix a pothole. Time you send a crew out, saw it out, do it all the work, it's about $35 a square foot. And then I learned that most of our potholes were actually where we had done paving, and whereas our manholes were didn't get brought back up, and that's the city's responsibility also. So we've been raising manholes to street level to take care of some of those potholes that people thought were potholes that were out just manholes that didn't get brought back up when we did the actual work. But it's about $35 a square foot just to fix a pothole.
Is that ongoing projects? I mean, are there people that you've talked to recently that are going to expect their roads for that issue to be resolved soon? Or?
There's we're working, we're paving right there. We're on the industrial part right now. The roads out there are just really just falling apart from all the big trucks running on Columbia Drive, and but that's growth. I mean, that's just part of it. So here again, that's more that maintenance housekeeping that you just got to keep doing.
On Tuesday of this week, we had Brian Hager on the program, and he heads up the Cotton Mill Farmers Market. Mm-hmm. I want to say dating back to the earlier part of this year, we talked with Roy Wojcik, and there was a big promotion as far as finding a pavilion for them, to help them find a pavilion so they can do their like once a month farmers markets. On the program this week, he said he felt like that's probably on the back burner for the city at this point, and I guess the suggestion is that as Rory's not there to kind of push it through right now, is it really on a back burner? Is it kind of being delayed at this point? Is that something that you even favor?
Well, I mean, we were in favor of it. Mm-hmm. We had proposed that we stick them down on Rome Street, where the Southwire building is, right across from downtown Gowns, in the parking lot below Little Hawaiian, that little area on the side over there. And they came back to us and said that wasn't going to suit their needs. Had too much asphalt, too much heat. We had a little bit of green space right there on, for love me, can't remember the name of that little road that goes up to like going to the First Christian Church and behind Smith Brothers Supply.
Okay.
And they were concerned about, the heat coming from that area. Right now they're on Dixie Street with Tanner, an open lot. Tanner's indicated to them that they're going to be putting another building up on that lot also. They came back to us, and they were trying to relocate maybe across from City Hall at the old warehouses back in the very back corner. But the plan got a little bit bigger than what we had money for, and we decided just kind of table it till the new council got in place. Mm-hmm. It was not something we felt going forward until after this election that a new council and a full council being seated would be more applicable to everybody having a voice.
And you can see why that could be a beneficial thing. You're bringing in more business to the city, and people come downtown more. But was there any concern? You'd mentioned they were out there behind City Hall that was considering, but there's already a market there.
Yes,
24/7 market.
Mm-hmm.
Basically.
No, this is going to be on Bradley Street.
Well, that's where you're talking about that. But I mean, just across on the other side of Bradley Street, down at the bottom of the police station there,
yes,
just the other side there. I mean, there is a fresh market there.
Yes, there is.
Do they have any concerns about that?
Well, you should, and we do. I mean, that farmers market has been there for as long as I can ever remember.
Yeah.
It's but here again, if you just try to accommodate everybody that you can accommodate. I've been to it, and they have lots of stuff there over on Dixie Street, and we're working towards it. We haven't just ditched it, but it's something we felt like we need to just kind of put off until after the election. We got a full new set of council members up there to look at it.
Mm-hmm. 8:50 right now, 10 minutes before 9 o'clock. Our guest this morning is Walt Hollingsworth. He's the mayor of the city of Carrollton, and he wants to hang on to that job for at least 4 more years. Election day is November the 5th, and he's being challenged this year by Betty Kaysen. We did interview Ms. Kaysen on Monday. That program is on our website, newstalk1330.com, and it's also on our Newstalk 1330 Facebook page because we streamed that live as well. We'll take our final break, and we'll come back and wrap up our program with Mayor Walt Hollingsworth. Community Voice brought to you by Tanner Health System and Oak Mountain Academy on Newstalk 1330 FM 106.3.
At Tanner, we're advancing health throughout West Georgia and East Alabama because we know that exceptional care isn't based on how many patients we serve, but how well we serve them. That's why we're focused on quality, delivering the best possible care for our patients. It's why we're expanding our clinical services and building new facilities to serve our growing community. And it's why we're looking beyond our hospitals and medical practices to develop sustainable wellness and preventive health programs in our region. What makes a hospital great has changed. It's not how many beds we have. It's how well we care for the neighbors who need them. Delivering the right care to every patient, every time, is how Tanner is advancing health with medicine beyond measure. Learn more at tanner.org or find a physician on our medical staff by calling 770-214-CARE.
A well-rounded education includes much more than just academics. At Oak Mountain Academy, we encourage our students to find their niche in any of our 42 co-curricular opportunities. Over the past 5 years, we have brought home 5 state and 20 regional athletic titles. Our one-act play and literary teams continuously compete at the region and state level, and our academic teams bring home first place more than not. We are warriors creating legacies. To learn more, visit oakmountain.us.
8:52. Welcome back to the WLBB Community Voice Program, Newstalk 1330 FM 106.3. This morning, streaming live online at newstalk1330.com and the Newstalk 1330 WLBB Facebook page, where you can see my guest, Mayor of the City of Carrollton, Walt Hollingsworth. Got about 8 minutes left in our program. What's the best thing about living in the City of Carrollton?
Oh, it's just the quality of life. Everybody's concerned about trying to make everybody's quality of life better. When industry comes to town, they look at quality of life, education, and hospitals for their employees. They want to make sure, they have happy employees and healthy employees. And with Tanner and the city and the recreation department and the Carrollton City School System, the county school systems, it's just one big great package. Unfortunately for us, industry-wise, we're out of space. We have our industrial park is tapped out. We have a little bit of ground left in Villarica, closer to the Douglasville side of Villarica, but it's still in Carroll County. We have a little bit in Temple, and we have just.
So you're saying the county itself is.
County itself,
okay.
As far as everybody's talking. When you talk industrial, bringing jobs in, it's countywide jobs. I mean, you may live in Carrollton, you may work in Villarica, or you may live in Carrollton or Bremen and work in Carrollton.
Well, Carrollton does have some industrial spots left, right?
No,
not at all.
We're out.
Okay, well, how does Carrollton address that then?
We're trying to figure out what we can do. Our industrial park is tapped out right now.
I know it is in Villarica as well.
Villarica just got maybe a few small parcels. We don't have any large parcels left to bring anybody into. We're kind of on the status quo with that. I mean, Carrollton Mayor 2020 has done a heck of a job for us, and they're recruiting all the time to try to bring new industry in. But, it's a partnership between all the cities of Carroll County. And when you say Carrollton, you got to really say Carroll County because we're all in one big pool. You may live right outside the city, but you're working inside the city or one of the cities that we have. We don't know what we're going to do about the land situation.
When businesses come or they're looking to West Georgia, for a place to set up business, you consider West Georgia. Does it get as far as them actually coming here and looking at property, or when they're talking with maybe Carrollton Mayor or you guys, do they already know we have nothing?
They come and tour.
Okay.
And they still look.
So can you think of any businesses recently that we've had to say, we just can't accommodate you?
I can't just say right off the top of my head that would be.
Well, even without saying their name, but I mean, have we dealt with that?
We've got people looking,
yeah,
and they're coming. Like I said, Carrollton Mayor does one heck of a job. You can't brag on Daniel Jackson and his crowd any more than what they do.
Absolutely.
They stay on the state level. They make trips abroad in the recruitment mode. I mean, we're constantly. We got really lucky and got Colorado Premium back in here right after Maplehurst left us. We thought that building might be empty for a little bit, but the Colorado Premium people stepped up and came in. They brought 190 jobs. Magna Lumsden has a couple expansions, and they're steady. They don't have any more room to grow out there either. They built a big warehouse, and it was just a big hole that they had to fill in dynamite out just to make it usable. So we're basically tapped out.
The next 4 years, whoever is mayor.
Yes, sir.
What can that person expect? Well, what are they going to be dealing with in the future in the 4 years, the next 4 years for the city of Carrollton? What are going to be the issues?
Greenbelt spurs, just status quo, trying to maintain employees, try to make a harmonious place for our employees to work. We have a great crew of people that work for the city. They get a lot of things done with a little bit of resources. It's like everything else. We need a little more money to make things go round.
What makes it a harmonious place to work?
I mean, it's just everybody's just friendly, nice. They're not.
Where does that start? Does that start with the face of the city, the mayor?
I guess it does to a degree. I try to touch base with them, I pat them on the back. You just have to encourage people to keep up and keep on, and they do a great job. Everybody's always been more than accommodating. Nobody's ever told me this, said, hey, I just can't get along with this one person. So.
We've got less than 2 months before the official election day, November the 5th. What is that, as far as the campaign, what are you able to get involved in? I mean, we kind of joke about going door to door, things like that, but I mean, what do you see yourself getting involved as far as getting your message out?
We're going to do some mailers for sure. It's bad thing about this time of year is football season, and you go knock on somebody's door on Saturday and Sunday, and they kind of
got priorities, man.
Yeah, it's like, get away from me. I'm watching the game. So it's I'm doing my normal thing. I've got a lot on my calendar for the next 2 months. Just going to places, did a ribbon cutting this past Saturday.
And honestly, if you look at those pictures that are sent out by mostly the chambers when it sends them out, the ribbon cuttings, I mean, you are always there.
Just anytime somebody wants me somewhere, they call. Lacey at City Hall, just my calendar, she says, we got room to add this on your calendar. Southwire's got their big deal coming up here pretty soon. I think I've got somewhere to be about 3 days a week at least for the next 3 months, whether I get reelected or not.
Got about 2 minutes left in the show, and we'll try and fit this question and answer in, hopefully. What are the most important relationships for the city of Carrollton?
Oh, the college, Southwire, Tanner. Tanner does a tremendous amount for the community with their Live Healthy, Live Well programs. City tries to go right along with everybody. We have a great set of corporate partnerships at the AMP. There's just stuff downtown every weekend, not necessarily stuff that the city has sponsored, but just private events going on. There's something to do everywhere. Disc golf. We just did a FIT program out at Hobbs Park last week, dedicated. I think it was a Mary Alice Bennett Brown Foundation gave us $35,000 for a little fit station at Hobbs Park.
And that can entertain, multiple. It's like 40 people at a time, right? 200.
Yes. Yeah, 200 exercises you can do. The disc golf is number 10 in the country, number 1 in the state. And you'd be surprised how many folks go out and play disc golf.
No, I do it. I've lost 5 Frisbees out there. All right, we got 30 seconds. How can people contact you? And they follow you on Facebook? Is there something?
Follow on Facebook. Call City. Get my email address off City Hall website. Send me an email. My phone number is 770-328-7118. It stays on from 6 in the morning until 9 at night. Sometimes a little later, but I try to get a little sleep. So.
Mayor of Carrollton, Walt Hollingsworth. He's on ballots for re-election coming up November 5th, challenged by Betty Kaysen. If you missed any of the program, it'll be on our website. Also, the News Talk 1330 Facebook page. Walt, good to see you. Thanks for coming by. Thank you for listening. Community Voice is brought to you by Tanner Health System, Oak Mountain Academy.